Hello and welcome to the show. We are here today on BeamNG Drive going to be, well, destroying some more cars, yes? We're going to be driving them till destruction, till they fall apart and can no longer move. I can't English very well, but that is about usual for me. We're starting with a curious thing. This is the Mione, I think is how it's pronounced. I'm not actually sure. It's sort of a combination of a Legrand and a Covert put together. It's a bit peculiar, shall we say. I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to survive because it's all-wheel drive. I was expecting it to be front-wheel drive and it isn't. This one's an all-wheel drive vehicle. In fact, as you can... I think it's mostly front bias, but I think it is all-wheel drive. Oh god, it's very quick for what is a mid... this is kind of like a sport trim, but this isn't anywhere near the top sport trim of the vehicle. So... yeah, it's very, very quick, regardless. Small, as I said, all-wheel drive, and quite understeery. Now, small, light cars generally have issues around these courses, these destruction courses. It tends to be wheel axles that, oh god, get into problems. Oh, we've had a little bit of a spin. Yeah, wheel axles can often be a little bit fragile around here. This might survive a smidge better than the Covert. Radiators are always potential for damaging, for going and overheating naturally. We'll have to wait and see. So far, they're actually not looking too bad around here. This car, aside from the big understeer moment, nothing really terrible happened across the Toblerone for the first time. We are on the side, which isn't ideal there. Can we come back down onto the wheels without using the node grabber? Yes, we can. It's a little bit buckled. Yeah, it's not probably the ideal car for the Toblerones. It's quite low. Here we go. Oh, we have bent something in the steering of the car. It is quite good handling when the steering is not bent. Oh, it might actually be... oh no, I can see what's bent. See, there's kind of a wheel rub going on the rear right, but the front right is all leant over and buckled inwards, which is never a good thing. We don't be wanting that at all. Oh no, that's also a bad thing. That's also a bad thing. I mean, we have come to a stop up there because the back end just completely let go on the landing. That has clonked out the radiator. That's not an ideal situation, that is for sure. Oh, it just doesn't want to turn anymore. It doesn't want to, it's a combination of it's buckled, it's actually going a lot quicker than you realise it's going, and it does seem to have chronic amounts of understeer. Let's be a little bit more careful. You kind of put it all together, and it feels like it's crazy understeery. I think it's naturally a bit understeery, but it goes quicker than you think it is, and that makes the understeer worse. You're kind of attacking the corners with a lot more speed than you're actually realising. Anyway, I digress. The radiator has now gone on the car. It's going to overheat. At some point, the engine will overheat on this one. It will go out from that. It's whether it's going to survive until that is the case, or whether something else is going to let go in the car. Jesus, it's so quick around here. If I actually had it set up, lined up for the jump, it might not actually be able to take it flat out. I probably couldn't because... ooh! Well, now it definitely is a front-wheel drive. That's one drive shaft down. We do seem to have lost a lot of power all of a sudden. Okay, well, what was a very quick car has now become I guess, more the speed I was expecting this car to be at. Might be with the radiator gone. It really doesn't like the speed bumps down there. Really doesn't like them. Across the tabletops, we're not too bad. The chassis is actually starting to get a little bit buckled, which isn't quite so good. Now, we're going to be alright. Oh, God. Mostly going to be alright. We're just hitting something, and then it just fires the car in the air. It's like we've got no give in the front of the vehicle. It immediately hits and bounces back up into the sky. It's not, I mean, it's a problem. I guess it's not actually tearing the car apart as such. It might if it lands awkward. We'll have to wait and see. I thought the chassis was actually a bit more buckled. It might just be the way the bodywork is. We can see the doors are pinged out. The top is generally a good indication that so the roof's buckled and everything's getting bent along the way, shall we say. Missed that corner completely. Still quite understeery. Right, the spinners. We've got... in fact, the steering has got better than it was the first time around, so it's actually not too terrible whatsoever through there. All good for our car. We're going to bounce quite a lot, actually, across there. Now we're setting up for the big jump once more. Second gear is probably where we're going to want... in fact, the radiator leak must be a small one. The engine power's gone kaput, but the actual radiator leak is not smoking and the temperature's not really gone up that high. That's a big, big hit on the ground. What is that rear left doing? It looks like it's squished up a bit. The suspension does not look happy on this car, I can tell you that much. Oh, we have a new name for a section that I really like coming up. We have got this next jump is going to be called Dover. There was all sorts of names relating to cliffs, but I really liked Dover because, well, it's a white cliff that we have going on up here. So we're going to go over the Dover jump that we have got. Oh, and that's landing heavily on the front. That's, I mean, having lost the rear drive shaft, the front is always a concern, shall we say. We've seen how easy it is to snap wheel axles in the front-wheel drive cars, the Covet and the like. This is doing pretty well so far, though. Yes, it's lost the drive shaft, and yes, it's overheating, but it's not overheating very quickly. Now it has started smoking, so yeah, there is that. It has got a bit of a turn of pace about it still. What we're going to have to watch out for, I think it's really the front wheel axles across these jumps, because it's still got a good amount of speed and the suspension's now really broken. So when we're hitting the ground, the car's just bouncing around horrifically, and one of those impacts is going to surely do a lot of damage to a wheel axle. We're across the speed bumps. Oh, there, no problem at all. Tabletop jumps, still getting big airtime across there. It's landed okay once more. Steering's not really got any worse from the start, which is, well, I think which is fine. I mean, it's not spot on steering wise, but it's still going, it's still working. We're going to plough through the water. Oh no, the rocks! That wasn't what I was actually thinking about. The fuel tank's gone. Oh no, we're going to run out of fuel. The rocks on the underside. Oh, I guess the chassis got bent. It's put the fuel tank lower and lower towards the ground. I wonder whether it would have been gone on the checkerboards then, if not on the rocks, or that probably was going to go at some point, regardless, like whichever obstacle it gets to. Yeah, the chassis got so buckled, the fuel tank is now exposed. Get it torn apart by some rocks is not what you want. The brakes are actually overheating as well. That we've not seen. I don't know why the brakes would be overheating. It's not going to really matter. The brakes can overheat if they like. The car's going to die. The car's going to run out of fuel before the end of this lap. In fact, I think a lot of things were about to go on this car. It is now overheating badly as well. Even with the water, that's not cooled it anywhere near enough. I've actually gone way too far. It's run out of fuel anyway. Oh, and it's caught fire. Wait, hold on. The fuel is run out of fuel and the engine's gone. The car's caught fire. What's fueling? I guess maybe it burnt. I don't know. So that's a unhappy car. It burst into flames. The flames have now gone out because I think there's run out of fuel. I think the fuel tank must have burst into flames then. It's smoking from every single corner at the moment. That's quite impressive. That's a broken car. That is an end. That is an end of a car. You know what? First fire on this series, I believe. Spectacular. Definitely well worth a run, this vehicle. We move up next to a supercar. Mid-engined, rear-wheel drive, V8 supercar. Yes, a vehicle not really built. Not in fact built at all for dealing with this kind of circuit. However, the Bolides are pretty strong from what I remember. Like actual chassis strength and so on, these things can take a beating. So it will be curious to see what the car is capable of around here, because this is a very different circuit to previous destruction circuits. This is, I mean, it's really a drive shaft killer, this track. Radiators do go and overheating does occur, but yeah, this is really a drive shaft killer. So I don't know what we're going to see with this, because of course, being mid-engine rear-wheel drive, it doesn't have that long drive shaft that gets snapped from sort of like the classic American cars that we see a lot of. You know, the Blue Buck and those sort of vehicles do generally survive quite well, but they're always susceptible to that long drive shaft getting snapped as the chassis gets buckled. This won't have that same problem. I mean, the chassis might well get buckled, but the drive shaft doesn't have anywhere near as far to go to those rear wheels. I don't actually know if you can... I don't actually know if you can snap... I don't think I've ever snapped the drive shaft in the Bolide. I mean, we can ping off the wheels, of course, but I don't think I've ever snapped the the drive shaft itself. So, yeah, I guess we'll find out. Oh, it's quite oversteery. This is, again, a mid-spec vehicle. It's not, by no means, the quickest. It's not a race car variant. It's still quite quick, but it isn't the very, very fastest version of the car. We might actually be low enough to almost go under the spinners if we were needed to. Not quite, it would probably take off the roof, but it wouldn't actually do any mechanical damage, I don't think, to the car. We're going to go sideways through all of that. And now this is also another car that may be a little bit quick for this jump. It's the big jump coming up here, that the shafted jump, that if we're going too fast, you will not have time to slow down for the corner and end up in the fence. While this course, all the vehicles have to be driven as quick as they can around this course, that doesn't mean go flat out into a wall. Cars like this, the V6R4 Cover, the K0, all of those cars are, have a lot of power, and they could reach the fence, if not clear it on some vehicles' cases. So, yeah, they've got an element of... oh, God, we're going to go and fall off Dover pretty much. Yep, that's actually not very cleverly done. Yeah, there's got to be an element of judgment from me involved with some of this. Come on, fall over. I know the car's starved of oil. We will roll you back over and get you going again. I'm not allowed to turn the engine off while the car is upside down. If it rolls, well, I'm allowed to, of course, recover it with the node grabber. If it rolls, the starved from oil damaged engine is the, I guess, punishment, if you will, for the vehicle having fallen over. The exhaust has fallen off and got stuck. Ooh, radiator leaking is unusual in this car. It doesn't normally end up having a radiator go, or it's more difficult normally to get the radiator to go in this one. However, I guess this section here is quite nasty, to be honest with you. It's nastier than you think it is. You think of these jumps here as really the big car killers, but that little section is actually quite tough on the vehicles. You've got lots of small jumps. It's kind of like awkward jumps. It's got awkward directions you've got to be going in. Oh, back into the car. It's bouncing around like mad. Again, this is just a car that's not got the suspension designed for this sort of stuff. I don't really want to be sliding. Definitely don't want to be sliding. Oh, God. Come on, car. Stay under control, please. There we go. Nicely does it across all of these jumps. We're going to bobble and bounce around quite a lot here. Through... Ooh. Nope, we're fine. I thought for a second we had some sort of suspension issue. I thought the car was almost going through the floor down there, but not quite. Here we go. Across the checkerboards now. We're not got a bent enough chassis to have issues here, which is good. And this is the thing with the supercar. As I said, the Bolide is seriously tough, like chassis-wise. It takes an awful lot to kind of break this car, which is good for this kind of course, because this is it's drive shaft chassis killer, really. Mostly. I mean, it can get killed in other ways, naturally. Oh, there we go. Everything is fine. We've run in a little bit too deep through there, but the car's got good enough brakes and good enough handling. We'll get away with that. So, at some point, the spinners are going to absolutely clobber a car. I don't know what car is going to get hit by them. And the spinners are basically a steering obstacle. They are, if your car doesn't have good enough steering, it's going to have trouble with these. That is the point of them. Oh, I've got loads of wheel spin going up the hill there. It's not what I need in the slightest. Another big crunch. We can see the doors are a bit of a... I actually don't know what's happened to the door. Something peculiar has gone on with the door. It's all sorts of busted and broken and... Well, it's kind of all sorts. It's a weird angle. But again, the chassis is holding up very, very well. It's keeping everything together, and that is basically what we need. We're going to drive the car up the ledge, off the top of Dover, and it's not really... See, nothing's really got worse this lap around. This is the sign of a good car in this series. If after the... there's going to be some initial damage. Nothing's going to get through here unscathed. Well, nothing's going to get through here. But... the first lap you're going to do needs to be some initial damage. If after that initial damage the car's not really getting too much worse on the subsequent laps, then you know you're on with a good car. You've got a good surviving car. This one is going to be the overheating, I think, that probably gets it, unless something else happens to go. A wheel, maybe if it pinged off a rear wheel, that'd be a problem. Okay, you can see there is a little bit of bananaing of the chassis. That is a technical term. It's a proper measurement. I don't quite know can we measure it in like bananas? I don't quite know how we would rate the banananess of a chassis. We have fallen over. The engine is now starting. Oh, the engine's actually gone. The engine is gone across that jump. It was overheating, and it's not going to turn back on again. I can try, but yeah, that's just the engine seized. Engine completely seized on the Bolide. It was overheating quite badly. The roll probably didn't help. It was possible the roll combined with the already overheating engine and the oil issues, it was enough just to lock the engine to pieces. I mean, again, for a supercar, it's not too bad. Honestly, the vehicle itself was Oh, now it's getting really unhappy. The vehicle itself, like the whole chassis and mechanics of the car, was doing well. It was just the radiator was gone, and that's always like it's always possible to go with these. And the lack of, well, I say ability, but lack of ability to deal with the harsh bumps does lead to the car flipping over more. It's not got the suspension, so there we have it. The Bolide is down and out. Still a respectable performance from the supercar. And for the final vehicle to run around the Proving Grounds course today, we have a sports car. We have the 200BX. Now, I've gone, once again, sticking with this sort of mid-trim, mid-level version. This is naturally aspirated rear-wheel drive sports car. It's not going to be crazy quick. No, and it might have a little bit more give in the suspension than the likes of the Bolide, the likes of some of the crazy modified high-end versions of this car. So that's the hope. In fact, actually, across the speed bumps there, very impressed. That was good. I mean, we saw the Bolide hit the speed bumps, got launched into the air and fell apart on landing, or blew the engine to bits on landing, while it was upside down. This has just got across the speed bumps with not a real care in the world. The rocks shouldn't really pose any issue for it across there either. Likewise, the checkerboards. Nope, no problem at all. So this is a good start. Now, a thing I do know about the 200BX as far as beam cars go, certainly this is how it used to be, and I'd expect it to continue. This car has very strong wheel axles. I know normally we talk about weak, but this car, the wheels tend to bend rather than actually snap off. Now, this does often give the car some funky handling characteristics, of course, but it is quite rare to actually see the whole wheels fall off. Ooh, we carried a bit too much speed into that one. As I was saying that, I thought I'd got the speed right. I thought I'd turned the car right. Apparently not. I mean, the car is low enough that that's actually done nothing. It's not actually made any difference to my vehicle in any way, shape or form, other than looks. Other than looks, it has got a squished roof. Oh, okay, now that's a hit on the floor, on the nose, but nothing major. I mean, the radiator's still in one piece from that, so this is a good start, as far as starts go to Driven Till Destruction, as far as the first lap go. If we ignore the roof damage, ignore the major. Well, I mean, the roof damage is, it's not going to stop the car from working. I guess it may be, I don't know how beam cars are constructed, actually. I don't know whether, I mean, in reality, a compromised roof is going to weaken the whole thing. Like, a lot of the structural integrity of a car goes through the roof. I believe I'm right in saying this. That's why convertibles are heavier, because you have to reinforce them on the underside, generally speaking. I think McLaren get away with some clever chassis, but regardless, so yeah, maybe that will, but I don't know whether I don't know if that's simulated in Beam, so I can't really contemplate that too much. We come up towards the end of our first lap. The radiator, actually I shouldn't say that yet. Let's just get across this last jump. Let's see what this does. Okay, the exhaust has come off. Don't care about that. Not important, really. We got across the first lap. Radiators in one piece. The speed bumps. Look at that. That is beautiful. From the 200BX. That is absolutely what we want to see. That's perfect. For a sports car across the speed bumps, you couldn't really ask for much more. I mean, the bonnets come up and you wouldn't be able to see if you were in the cockpit of the car at all. However, thankfully that is not an issue we have to deal with here. We can go through the water, through the shallow grave there. It's not really good. Outside of the chariot that went on the first episode, well, I guess it technically killed the My One today. Thinking about it hasn't really killed any cars, and today's episode had one. You know what? Apparently I'm a fool, but it's not been quite as fearsome as it could be, those rocks. I think it will just be the odd car. But it's just, yeah, cars with bent chassis are going to be potentially in trouble. The Toblerones are not going to really do much to the 200BX, because the suspension on this car is great. It's fantastic through there, really. This time we are through the spinners with no real issue. The carousel, you see, I thought these bumps were going to do a lot more damage to cars, but they've not really done all that much to anything. I mean, this thing has got good suspension. We're seeing it's dealing with the bumps very well, so it's not surprising this car isn't bothered by them. Oh no, the drive shaft, it was doing so well. The chassis didn't even look that buckled on this one. Just hit that landing. Shafted has claimed yet another victim around here. It is going to roll. It is going to coast to a halt, but it is not going to get to. It's not going to get to the White Cliffs of Dover here. It is going to cruise and come to a rest. Oh, that's a shame. It was doing really well for a sports car. That was doing really, really well indeed. But it's just that buckled chassis. That buckled chassis has got the better of it. Come on, keep rolling. We can use gravity as much as we can. If we put it in neutral, actually, might help it roll a bit better. Yeah, we can use as much gravity as we like to keep it going. It is going to come to a rest, of course, and that is going to be about here, I should think. Try to eke it as far forward as we can. And there we go. That's the end of it. I can rev the car up. It's not going to matter. The drive shaft's gone in it. It's got nowhere to send the power. And there we go. That was going really, really well. I'd say a bit unlucky. That's what that jump does. That's what that jump does. It's a chassis and drive shaft killer around here. The 200BX does put on a good performance, but it is a bye-bye to the drive shaft. So, on to our leaderboard, and it is my one that will go the best of the day. I'll go into an 8th place, which is, to be honest, not too bad whatsoever. It's only slightly down on the off-road Roma. It beats the Sunburst. Now, got to bear in mind, the distance counter that we use in the game is not 100% accurate, especially when the car's getting heavy damage to wheels and the like. So, the numbers, well, is a good rough guess, or a rough guide, if you will. I do go and check the videos to see where the vehicles have all ended up in. Yeah, top 10, so at the moment for my one. Certainly not a bad performance for that vehicle. The Bolide, for a supercar, didn't do too badly either. It'll go 11th. It beats the K-Series, W-Series. I can't quite beat the Cheria. Again, quite a sudden failure for that engine. I think the rolling around, the bouncing off of like the speed bumps and that sort of thing, just did so much damage to the engine. In the end, that final flip was what killed it. I mean, it was in a pretty poorly way. The actual car itself, mechanically, everything else outside the engine, speaking-wise, was doing very, very well, but that overheating got the better of the engine. And finally, we have the 200BX. Again, it was holding up pretty good, or it looked like it was on the surface of it, but that's that big jump, clonking out another drive shaft, and you can see that section of drive shaft failures going on around there for the 200BX, down in 15th place. I mean, it was onto its second lap. It's certainly by no means the worst car that's got around here, but yeah, it was a big hit, and that was all it took to take out the drive shaft of that vehicle. Well, there we go. That is going to be it for this video. As ever, I shall link all the mods used in the description so you can download them and have a go with them yourself. That, though, shall be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.